All right, so back again with another review request, and this is for Salvatore Spano. And I hope I said that right. He wanted me to talk about and review Excessive Force, starring Thomas N. Griffith. And right off the bat, I thought this is a enjoyable, little action movie that not a lot of people know about. But I really enjoyed this one. And, Thomas N. Griffith, of course, from The Karate Kid Part 3. He was the character of Terry Silver. And around this time, reading about this movie, the studios were hoping to kind of build him up as kind of like another Seagal-like action star, and it didn't quite work out. After watching this movie, I kind of wish that, maybe he was given more of a fair shake, at doing more. I mean, he did a few movies, but he didn't really have the career of, let's say, a Seagal or, at the time, Van Damme and other action stars that were, getting that big push. But the plot here to the film real quick. So Thomas N. Griffith, he's this, Chicago policeman who, kind of plays by his own rules, so to speak. And he's trying to put away this mobster played by Burt Young, this character of DeMarco. And he's always getting away, acquitted on technicalities. Long story short, he's monitoring this drug sale, and there's a shootout, and, one of Terry's fellow officers gets away with an X amount of money, and now the mobsters, they want to go after our main character, and they kill his brother. And so now it's up to Thomas N. Griffith to stop our villains here, and that's the plot of the film. Now, the film is directed by John Hess, who directed Watchers and Alligator 2, The Mutation. And the cast here, Thomas N. Griffith, to me, he did a good job here. He has a certain, kind of a calm charisma, a little bit, kind of a cool charisma, I mean, if you compare it to, let's say, Seagal and Van Damme, of course, I would say that I think they have more going for them, in terms of personalities or, just, like Thomas N. Griffith, I thought, did a good job here. And like I said, it's unfortunate that he was never really given that opportunity to really do more movies, and, I don't know, just, which, a lot of people associate him with the Karate Kid Part 3 and being a villain type, and here he's a good guy, but to me it works. Thomas N. Griffith did a good job, and, like I said, to me, he has a certain, kind of calm charisma, and his kicks, I don't know the certain style of martial arts that he uses here, but, the kicks are fierce. And you see that quite a bit here in the movie in terms of the fight scenes and the choreography. So Thomas N. Griffith does a good job. And you have quite a cast here of other supporting actors. You have, Lance Henriksen. He's the chief in this. But, obviously you come to find out that he's a bad guy. And, Lance Henriksen around this time was playing a lot of villain types, whether it be in this movie and Hard Target and, I mean, Stone Cold and so much more. But, Lance Henriksen's a great actor. James Earl Jones, yeah, he's in this film as like a friend of, our main character. And he owns like a little bar. And it was cool to see him in there. And I'm glad he didn't get killed. Because I think that would have turned me off a little bit, to be honest. But it was cool to see him in there and kind of bounce off, Thomas N. Griffith. I thought they had a nice little chemistry there. Tony Todd is in here for a little bit. The Candyman, he's, come to find out he's part of the villain group. Burt Young, yeah, from the Rocky movies, he's a mobster in this movie. And he has a couple of, scenes, for example, he stabs a guy in the ear with the pen. And it's cool to see, Burt Young, play a different type of role here. Where in the Rocky films, the character of Paulie, he's a very likable character, and but here, he's a mobster. Although it comes to a point where the main character tries to rough him up, and he kind of he gets thrown to the ground, and he's like, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. But Burt Young does a good job. I kind of wish that, maybe we saw more of him in the second half of the film. But anyways, so you got other people too. You got Tom Hodges as the, brother of our main character. And I'm like, I've seen this guy before. And he was the character of Lars in Heavyweights. And I'm like, okay, I've seen this guy before in other stuff. And for people that have seen Heavyweights, he's the guy that works with Ben Stiller's character that gets tied to the tree. I'm like, okay, that's Lars. But, it's a really good cast here of, Thomas N. Griffith does a good job, and you have other nice supporting players here. The music I thought was good too, kind of a nice little score here by Charles Bernstein, who worked on Cujo and A Nightmare on Elm Street. And to mention some other stuff here, for me, highlights. Again, to see Burt Young as a villain here, it's a different type of role for him. And, it was cool to see him, stab a guy in the, in the ear with the pen. And, some of the fight scenes, you get some good fight scenes in here with Thomas N. Griffith. There's a scene where he roughs up a few guys on the staircase, and, there's a scene where there's like a fight scene in the train yard, and then later on, fast forward to this farmhouse, and he's just taking out guys left and right. And the shootouts here, there's some really good gunplay throughout this movie. A lot of, practical bullet squibs, and to me, they worked. So again, just a lot of good gunplay here, throughout the movie. Lance Henriksen, like I said, you come to find out he's a villain. And then when you get to the final scene where Thomas N. Griffith is with Lance Henriksen on the rooftop, I kind of wish that it was a little bit more of a fight, but it was cool to see, Lance Henriksen get kicked off the rooftop. That was a cool, comeuppance. But, for me, again, Thomas N. Griffith, he does a good job here. There's some good fight scenes, with his kicks, I mean, they're fierce, and a lot of good choreography on display here with his style of martial arts. And again, good gunplay, good fight scenes, which I know I already mentioned, but it's just a good supporting cast here. And for me, Excessive Force, it's a film, again, like I said in the beginning, not a lot of people talk about or know about, but to me, it's a very straightforward and underrated action movie that I would like to pick up. And out of 5 stars, for me, I'm going to give Excessive Force 4 out of 5 stars. But that's it for my review. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.